Okay, so you know how laundry day always starts with the lie, "I'll just knock it out real quick," and ends with you questioning everything you've ever touched? Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I tried to be efficient and ended up laundering a grown man's underwear against everyone's will, especially his. Let's begin. So it's Sunday. I've got 2 loads of dirty clothes, a bad attitude, and exactly 1 Tide Pod. I walk into my neighborhood laundromat, the one that's somehow 400 degrees inside at all times and smells like dryer sheets and regret. I claim a washer, load my clothes, start the cycle. Then I sit down, pop in my headphones, and zone out to a podcast about cults, which is ironic, given what's about to happen. Cycle ends. I stand up, open the washer, move the clothes to the dryer like a domestic goddess on autopilot. I'm folding laundry 30 minutes later when I notice none of these clothes are mine. Like, at all. There are unfamiliar jeans and aggressively large flannel, and the moment of realization, a pair of men's boxers with little cartoon lobsters on them. I whisper, "Whose pants are these?" Then louder, "Whose pants are these?" I turn. A man at the back of the laundromat is staring at the now empty washer I thought was mine, holding his own laundry basket with the quiet confusion of someone who just got reverse robbed. I walk over, with his folded clothes in my arms, and say, the worst possible thing, "Are these yours?" He says nothing, just blinks, probably wondering if this is a prank or a very weird meet cute. I start rambling. "I didn't mean to. I thought they were mine. I don't own a single flannel or anything lobster-themed. Although now I kind of wish I did." Still, silence. I hand him his clothes, folded, like a psycho. He finally speaks. "Thanks, I guess." Then adds, "You fold boxers like a professional." "Sir, don't do this. This is not the moment for flirtation." I nod, back away slowly, trip over a laundry cart, and spend the rest of the drying cycle avoiding eye contact while Googling, "Can you get arrested for washing the wrong clothes?" Moral of the story? Double check your washer. Lobster boxers are a warning sign, and doing good deeds by accident still counts, right? Anyway, I'm Lexi, and if you ever saw a woman hand-deliver warm folded undergarments to a stranger while nervously apologizing with her whole soul, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever gotten into chaos at a laundromat or public place? Wrong bag, wrong car, wrong dog? Let's air the dirty laundry together, babe. Love you, mean it. Lexi out.
All right, let's set the scene. It's Vegas. It's hot. The kind of hot where your sunscreen sweats off before you finish applying it. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I became a fake VIP at an NBA Summer League game and briefly lived a double life as someone way more interesting. Let's begin. So my friend scores us tickets to the Summer League. You know, the NBA off-season event where rookies, hopefuls, and G-Leaguers come to ball out while scouts pretend not to check their phones every 4 minutes. I'm not a huge sports girl, but I am very much a hot dogs and chaos girl, so I say yes. We get decent seats. Atmosphere is electric. People are yelling things like, "Run the pick," and "That's a travel." And I'm over here clapping because someone tied their shoes fast. Midway through the second quarter, I decide to grab a hot dog. I come back. I sit. I take one single aggressive bite, and bam, Jumbotron. Huge screen. My face. Mouthful of meat, a single line of mustard has betrayed me and is sliding down my chin in 4K. People cheer. I panic. I do a peace sign. Hot dog still in hand. It looks like I'm waving with meat. Then it gets weird. This guy 2 rows down turns around and says, "Wait, are you Diego Luna's sister?" I blink. My mouth says what, but my brain says, play along. So I go, "Cousin, actually." He nods, says, "That's so. You've got the vibe." "What vibe?" "The sweaty hot dog on camera vibe? Sure." Within minutes, word spreads. People are whispering. One kid asks for a selfie. A staff member brings me free nachos. I say thank you in the most mysterious tone I can manage. My friend is dying next to me, whispering, "This is how cults start." At one point, someone goes, "Hey, is Diego here tonight?" And I go, "He likes to keep it low-key." By halftime, I have taken 4 selfies and pretended to be related to an actor I've only ever seen in Rogue One. I finally break character when someone asks what team my cousin is rooting for. I say, "I think he likes the green ones." There are no teams wearing green. They know, I know, we all know. But by then, the damage is done. I've tasted fame. And mustard. Moral of the story? Never eat anything sloppily in an arena. Always have a backed-up fake identity. And if someone thinks you're famous, never correct them until the nachos arrive. Anyway, I'm Lexi. And if you ever saw a woman smiling nervously on a jumbotron with mustard on her face and a fake celebrity family tree, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been mistaken for someone else? Did you lean into it? Did you crack? Let's confess together, babe. Love you, mean it. Lexi, out.
All right, let's be clear. I usually fly budget. Like middle seat, 0 legroom, please don't recline into my knees kind of budget. So when I saw my seat number was 4C, my brain short-circuited and thought, ooh, front row vibes, instead of checking which cabin that was. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I faked confidence so hard I was almost served filet mignon I didn't pay for on a flight I barely made. Let's begin. So I'm flying home from a work thing. I'm late, I'm sweaty, my boarding pass is a crumpled screenshot I pulled from an email at 2%. I scan it, the gate agent waves me through, and I strut onto the plane like I fly private every Tuesday. I find 4C. It's one of those big, bougie seats that looks like it costs more than my rent. I hesitate. Then I think, maybe they upgraded me. Maybe it's fate. I sit. A flight attendant walks by and offers me champagne. I accept it. With confidence. Which is dangerous, because I have 0 clue what I'm doing. I'm adjusting the seat like it's a transformer. I'm unfolding tray tables I didn't know existed. I find a footrest and whisper, "Is this wealth?" Then they bring out the menu. We are still parked at the gate, and I am staring at 3-course options like I belong here. So I order the shrimp, because that's what people do in movies. 5 minutes in, a man appears. He smiles politely and says, "Hey, I think you might be in my seat." I go, "Oh no, I'm in 4C. He goes, "Yeah, so am I." I pull out my phone, open the pass, squint, and realize I'm supposed to be in 24C. 2-4. The back. Where the seats don't recline, where legroom is a myth, where the tray table attacks your kneecaps. I panic. The flight attendant comes over, I confess everything in one breath like a guilty raccoon. And then the guy looks at me, looks at the shrimp, and says, "Honestly, you've already unwrapped the cutlery, stay." Reader, he gave me the seat. I almost cried into my lemon wedge. The flight attendant winks and says, "He'll get miles for this." I sit there in stunned silence, sipping my ginger ale, asking myself, am I a main character now? Moral of the story. Read your boarding pass like your life depends on it. Confidence can unlock shrimp, and never underestimate the kindness of tired businessmen in khakis. Anyway, I'm Lexi, and if you ever saw a woman faking belonging in business class while nervously trying to pronounce amuse-bouche, that was me.
Tell me in the comments, have you ever faked confidence and gotten away with it? Freebies, upgrades, identity mix-ups? Let's scream about it, babe. Love you mean it. Lexi out.
So listen, there are two things I love about farmers markets: free samples and weird old ladies who sell soap shaped like cats. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I mistook a line for a honey tasting and ended up aggressively eating pickles in public while a man named Todd the Brine King yelled at me to chew through the pain. Let's begin. It's a Saturday. I'm wearing cute little sunglasses and pretending I'm the main character in a Hallmark movie. You know, like I'm about to fall in love with a bearded man who sells organic radishes. I wander into this booth that smells strong, sour, vinegary, but in a maybe they sell spicy kimchi or something way. I see a line. People are hyped. Someone's yelling, 15 seconds left, folks. So obviously I join the line because I love food and chaos. This woman in an apron hands me a paper plate. I say, is this for the sample? She says, no, you'll need it for the contest. Then she smiles like I just signed a waiver with my soul. Before I can blink, a man with a bullhorn shouts, and our final contestant is here! Points at me, crowd cheers. I try to back away. Too late. Someone places a pile of pickles in front of me, like 10 full dill pickles, not slices, log-sized pickles. They say, you've got 3 minutes. Eat as many as you can. Go! The crowd counts down. I panic. I chew. Have you ever tried to look attractive while panic chewing pickles? You can't. My face is wet, there's juice on my shirt, my jaw is cramping. Someone's kid is pointing and yelling, that lady's crying! I wasn't, but I almost did. Meanwhile, the guy next to me, Todd the Brine King, is inhaling pickles like he's training for the Olympics. He's sweating, he's focused, he's a menace. I make it through 4. 4! The crowd claps politely. Someone offers me a lavender-scented napkin. I use it to wipe my shame. Todd wins, of course. He bows. I get a ribbon that says Crisp Spirit, which honestly feels insulting. I spend the rest of the day burping discreetly and whispering never again at cucumbers. Moral of the story, don't stand in lines you don't understand. Know your brine limit. And if someone named Todd is stretching before food, walk away. Anyway, I'm Lexi, and if you ever saw a woman chewing aggressively in front of strangers while a small crowd chanted, pickle, 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 that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever accidentally joined something weird in public? A contest? A flash mob? A cult tasting? Let's unpack the trauma, babe. Love you mean it. Lexi out. All right, babes, so it's a Sunday afternoon. I've got my little list, my little tote bag, my little overconfidence. I just want to grab a few things and bounce. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I ended up surrounded by biceps, barbells, and protein burps at the grocery store. Let's begin. So, I walk into my usual market. Everything seems chill at first. Then I hear techno music and shouting. I round the corner near the deli section, and I see it. A full-blown bodybuilding demo table set up near the freezer aisle, like dumbbells, mats, protein samples, the whole thing. Why? Unclear. All I know is there are 3 very tanned men in tank tops and one woman in her 70s doing lunges like she's training for Thor Ragnarok. I
try to sneak past, but one of them spots me. Huge man, muscles on muscles. He goes, "Hey, you look strong. Wanna try?" Me? "No, thank you. I'm just..." Him? "We've got almond protein powder." I do love almonds. That's how they get you, with snacks and false flattery. They hand me a sample cup of something that smells like vanilla drywall. Then the leader, a man named Big Frank wearing wraparound shades indoors, hands me a sack of potatoes and says, "Let's see your form." What form, Frank? I am here for oat milk and shame. But somehow, I'm doing squats in the middle of the store while Big Frank counts reps and says things like, "That's it. Feel the fire in your glutes." People are watching. A kid is filming me. A woman claps. Someone yells, "Is this an audition?" Not helping. At one point, they convince me to try a plank on the grocery floor next to a crate of sweet potatoes and betrayal. By the time it's over, I'm sweaty, emotionally unstable, and holding a free shaker bottle that says, "Flex and forget." I finally limp over to grab my oat milk, and the woman who runs the checkout looks me dead in the eyes and goes, "You've been chosen." Like I just joined a fitness cult. Moral of the story? Don't trust free samples with biceps. Never underestimate the core strength of retirees, and oat milk isn't worth public planking. Anyway, I'm Lexi, and if you ever saw a confused woman doing squats with produce while techno blasted through aisle 9, that was me. Tell me in the comments, what's the weirdest thing that's happened to you at a store? Demo gone wrong? Sample regret? Mystery fitness? Let's unpack it like emotional shopping bags. Babe, love you, mean it, Lexi out.
So, I love bookstores. They smell like paper and nostalgia and people trying to fix their lives with journals. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I ended up performing an erotic monologue in public against my will, while holding a cup of chai and silently screaming inside. Let's begin. So, I walk into this independent bookstore downtown. They've got that cute, handwritten sign out front like, "Tonight, live reading, free cookies." And you know me. You say free cookies, I say, what time should I be there? I walk in. There's a crowd. Chairs set up, warm lighting. I think, oh, it's a cozy poetry night. Maybe someone will weep into a haiku. I grab a snickerdoodle and settle in. Then the host steps up and says, "Welcome to our open, spicy romance night. Let's get steamy." I freeze. Spicy? How spicy are we talking? Before I can leave, she says, "And to kick things off, we're calling on a brave volunteer from the crowd to read a fan favorite passage." Guess who she makes direct eye contact with? Me. Mid-cookie. Crumbs on my shirt, pure vulnerability. Everyone claps. I panic walk to the front like I've been drafted into literary thirst trap duty. She hands me a book. No context, no warning, just a bookmark labeled Chapter 17, The Saddle Doesn't Lie. I open it. Oh no. Oh no. It starts with her breath caught as he gripped the leather reins and just goes downhill or uphill, I don't know. There's steam, there are moans, there is a hayloft involved, and I read it out loud with increasing regret and theatrical commitment. People are blushing. Someone fans themselves with a paperback. There is a woman knitting in the front row who makes prolonged eye contact the entire time. Halfway through, a literal church group walks past the window. They see me, standing there, reading, "His flannel shirt clung to muscles carved like forbidden marble." We lock eyes.
I see a nun! A nun! She clutches her pearls! Finally, I finish. The crowd claps. Someone yells, "You should audition for Audible." I sit down and immediately question every life decision that led to that moment. Also, the cookie was stale. Moral of the story? Always ask what kind of reading it is before committing. Don't trust handwritten chalkboard signs. And if you're gonna read smut, read it like you mean it. Anyway, I'm Lexi. And if you ever saw a woman dramatically narrating barn-based romance while dying internally next to a table of cinnamon rolls, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been thrown into public performance chaos? Open mic fails, stage fright nightmares. Let's overshare and emotionally hydrate together, babe. Love you, mean it. Lexi out.
All right, so you know those days where you just want to vibe with caffeine and ignore your inbox? This wasn't that day. This was the day I became a corporate candidate against my will. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I sat down for a coffee and walked out with a potential job offer I never applied for. Let's begin. So I walk into this cozy hipster cafe downtown, the kind with minimalist tables, baristas who wear beanies in July, and coffee so strong it could legally qualify as a personality disorder. I'm there early, rare for me, and I spot a table by the window with 2 seats. One of them is empty. The other has a guy in business casual, holding a clipboard and sipping espresso like it owes him money. I ask, "Mind if I sit here?" He says, "Of course, right on time." Me, assuming he means I beat the brunch rush, I try. I sit. And this man goes, "So, let's start with your strengths." I think, a little forward. Maybe he's just chatty. I say, "I can eat an entire croissant in one bite. Is that what you meant?" He blinks, laughs nervously, says, "I appreciate humor, but seriously, where do you feel you bring the most value in a team setting?" That's when it clicks. This man is interviewing me because he thinks I'm someone else. And listen, I could have corrected him. I could have stood up and walked away. But did I? No. I leaned in. Deeply, spiritually, professionally. I said, "I think I really thrive under pressure, especially when I have no idea what's going on, like right now." He nods, takes notes, then asks, "And how do you handle feedback?" I go, "I cry privately, then come back stronger, like a phoenix, with snacks." He stares, then says, "Wow, that's raw. I respect that." "Sir, I am literally not who you think I am." He keeps asking. I keep answering. Meanwhile, I'm texting my friend under the table like, "Help! I am in a corporate hostage situation." Finally, he asks, "Do you have a copy of your resume?" I panic and say, "No, but I do have a punch card for free scones." He chuckles. Then the real candidate walks in. Her name is Alexa Moon. I am not making that up. She looks at me. I look at her. We both realize the truth, and she just mouths, "What the hell?" I grab my latte, say, "Break a leg, Alexa," and speed walk out like I've just committed emotional fraud. Later that week, I get an email from the company. Subject line, "Follow-up from interview. Impressive answers." Moral of the story? Always clarify before sitting down. Fake it, but maybe not all the way. And apparently, sarcasm is a leadership skill. Anyway, I'm Lexi, and if you ever saw a woman confidently answering corporate questions with cream cheese on her face, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever ended up in a meeting or situation that wasn't meant for you? Did you go along with it? Did you survive? Did you thrive? Let's confess our chaos, babe. Love you, mean it, Lexi, out.
So here's the deal. I've always been kind of chill about hair. like, whatever, it grows back. Until it doesn't. Until it grows outward instead of downward. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I walked in for a quick cleanup and walked out looking like a backup dancer from a French indie film. Let's begin. So I'm running errands, feeling chaotic. I catch my reflection in a store window and think, okay, this hair is giving frizz meets cryptid. I decide on impulse to stop by this walk-in hair place I spotted around the corner. It's cute, clean. People inside look focused. A girl at the desk says, "Are you here for the 2 o'clock?" I go, "Sure." Do I know what the 2 o'clock is? Absolutely not. She hands me a waiver. Red flag number 1. I think, maybe it's just a new customer form. I sign it. I sit. Then I notice the mirrors have labels. Station 1, exam candidate. Station 2, instructor. Station 3, emergency fix zone. Oh. This isn't a salon, it's a cosmetology exam. I'm about to be a live haircut test subject? I try to get up. Too late. Someone already has the cape around me, is adjusting my headrest and saying, "I'm Madison. I'm being graded on precision and symmetry today." Jesus, take the clippers. Madison is sweating. Madison is trying. Madison is holding scissors like they're heavy with destiny. I whisper, "Just a trim?" She says, "My model canceled, so this is a pixie bob with blended French now." I die a little. Inside. But I smile. 2 instructors walk over. One is holding a clipboard, the other a ruler. They're measuring my head. Every snip is being analyzed like it's brain surgery. At one point, she sneezes mid-cut and says, "Oops, just a little angle variation." I whisper, "I felt that in my soul." When it's done, I look in the mirror. I am a new woman. A woman named possibly Delphine, who drinks espresso in alleyways and judges men for sport. Madison looks at me terrified. Is it okay? Me, dead serious. It's iconic. She passes, they clap, I get a free haircut. And a deep desire to grow my bangs out until the next presidential election. Moral of the story. Always read signs before entering a building. Free haircuts come with emotional cost. And sometimes the look chooses you. Anyway, I'm Lexi. And if you ever saw a confused woman leave a hair school looking like a vintage pop star and yelling, "I never asked for fringe," that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever gotten a surprise haircut or a surprise makeover of any kind? Did you survive it? Did it define a new era of your life? Let's process our hair trauma together, babe. Love you, mean it. Lexi out.
So I'd been feeling stressed, like crying over socks not matching stressed. So I decide I'm going to be that girl and do yoga in the park. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I ended up holding a tree pose while a small dog humped my shin in front of a crowd of women named Ashley. Let's begin. It's Sunday. I'm wearing matching leggings and a calm delusion. I show up at the park where I heard there's a free wellness yoga class. Sunshine, chill vibes, cool breeze. I'm like, this is it. I'm about to align my chakras or whatever. I see the group. Yoga mats everywhere, people stretching, but also dogs. So many dogs. I assume it's a coincidence, like people brought their pets because it's outdoors, right? Wrong. The instructor steps forward and says, "Welcome everyone to Puppy Pose Dog Yoga Sundays." I freeze. At this point, I could have left. I could have backed away slowly and repressed the memory.
Instead, I stay because I'm already unrolling my mat and I have main character syndrome. A woman walks up and says, "Are you solo today?" I nod. She says, "You can borrow Beef." I assume that's a nickname for a boyfriend. It is not. It is a tiny, fluffy, wild-eyed Pomeranian wearing a shirt that says Mommy's Protein Shake. So now I have a dog and a yoga instructor yelling, "Your partner should now be on your back." Before I can react, Beef, small but determined, leaps onto me mid-cat-cow. He is trembling, he is excited, he is peeing on my mat. I gasp. Everyone gasps. The instructor claps and goes, "Now that's a release." "Ma'am, please." I try to pretend it's fine, like I'm okay. I am not okay. Beef finishes his crime and curls up like he's meditating. I, meanwhile, am doing warrior pose while questioning every life choice since birth. At the end, they pass around organic beef-flavored biscuits. Beef eats 3. I tip the instructor out of trauma. Moral of the story? Read the full event description. Never trust a dog named after a protein. And sometimes self-care means leaving. Immediately. Anyway, I'm Lexi, and if you ever saw a woman get urinated on by a wellness Pomeranian while trying to find inner peace, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever joined an event or class that turned out to be nothing like what you expected? Yoga? Cooking? Axe throwing? Let's laugh through our regrets, babe. Love you, mean it. Lexi out.
Okay, let me set the stage. It's a Saturday morning. I've got my iced coffee, my casual hoodie, and the self-righteous glow of someone about to participate in democracy. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I tried to vote but ended up giving a ribbon to a very angry iguana named Chad. Let's begin. So my polling place is a community center. Big building, confusing signs. One door says main hall. I walk in, confident, focused, smelling like caffeine and civic duty. Immediately, I see a crowd of people, a folding table, and a lady with a clipboard. She looks up and goes, "You must be the substitute judge." And I, Lexi, queen of not asking follow-up questions, go, "Sure, that's me." She hands me a lanyard that says Paws and Claws 12th Annual Pet Talent Extravaganza. At this point, I have 2 options. Admit my mistake, embrace destiny, and start assigning numbers to dogs in costumes. Guess which I chose? I sit down at a long table next to 2 other judges. One looks like a retired magician. The other is wearing a cat sweater that says Whisker Whisperer. First contestant, a ferret in a tiny cape, doing what I can only describe as interpretive rolling. Everyone claps. I panic, hold up a 9 and say, "Excellent use of space." The crowd loves it. I am now locked in. Next, a woman brings out her parrot in a tuxedo, named Sir Pex-a-Lot. He says "Yas" on cue. I give him a 10 out of fear and respect. Halfway through, a man rolls out a tank with an iguana named Chad. Chad is wearing sunglasses. The man whispers he's moody but photogenic. Chad immediately hisses at me. I say, "Strong boundaries. I admire that." By the time we hit the rabbit obstacle course, I've forgotten I ever came here to vote.
I am emotionally invested. I'm sweating. I'm cheering. I almost cry when a golden retriever in a tutu does a backspin. Then, someone taps me on the shoulder. It's a real elections volunteer. She goes, "Hi, voting's actually in the building next door." I stare at her. At the parrot. At Chad. I say, "I'll be right there. I just have to crown best in show." Moral of the story? Always read the signs. Never underestimate a ferret in a cape. And sometimes civic duty includes rating parrots on personality. Anyway, I'm Lexi, and if you ever saw a confused woman handing a trophy to a chinchilla wearing a monocle while screaming, "Yes, Fluffy, yes," that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever walked into the wrong room and just stayed? Conference mix-up? Wrong wedding? Wrong Zumba class? Let's spiral publicly, babe. Love you, mean it. Lexi out.
Let's be honest. Sometimes life hands you chaos, and sometimes it hands you a juice box and a foam crown. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I tried to get a single scoop of pistachio ice cream and ended up fully embedded in a 6-year-old SpongeBob-themed birthday. Let's begin. So, it's a hot Saturday. I'm sweating, my brain's melting, and I think, you know what would fix everything? Ice cream. I remember seeing a cute local creamery down the street with picnic tables out front. So I pull up. I see balloons, kids, music, and I'm like, wow, this place really goes all out with branding. I walk in, there's a table full of cupcakes, a bubble machine, a banner that says, "Happy birthday, Ava." I think, oh, they personalize it for kids' orders. Cute! A woman walks up, holding a clipboard and frosting-stained napkins. Says, "You made it just in time for the sack race." I should have said no. I should have asked questions. I did not. I smiled and said, "Do I get a head start?" She laughs, grabs my arm, pulls me toward the backyard. Now I'm standing next to a line of 6-year-olds with socks on their hands and unicorn face paint, and I'm holding a burlap sack like this is the Hunger Games Bouncy Castle edition. Someone yells, "Go!" and I, Lexi, full-grown adult and proud former 5th grade field day champion, launch myself. I hop, I speed, I dodge a sprinkler, I pass 3 toddlers, I accidentally knock over a balloon arch. I win! Like, I destroy those kids. Everyone claps. A girl with a glittery tutu hands me a ribbon that says Hopper of the Day. I'm sweating and holding a juice box like I just completed an ultra marathon. Then it happens. A woman walks up, squints at me, says, "Are you Ava's aunt from Seattle?" I freeze. My brain buffers. I go, "Yes, and I'm so proud of how far she's come in life." She hugs me. I stay for cake and karaoke and a game of pin the tail where I blindfold myself too tightly and scream, "Who turned off the sun?" Finally, I leave with a gift bag, frosting on my shirt, and no regrets. Moral of the story? Never assume a balloon-filled backyard is public. Don't race children unless you're ready to crush their dreams. And free cake always comes with an identity crisis. Anyway, I'm Lexi, and if you ever saw a woman dominate a kid's sack race, eat 2 slices of cake, and answer to Auntie Lexi from Seattle like it was her legal name, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever crashed an event on accident and just stayed? Wedding, graduation, high school reunion that wasn't yours? Let's confess our party crimes together, babe. Love you, mean it. Lexi out.
All right, buckle up, because this one starts normal and ends with me accidentally performing in front of a crowd of tourists and aggressively shoulder shimmying next to a man in glitter suspenders. Hi, I'm Lexi. And this is the story of how I got tricked by my own curiosity and became the accidental Beyoncé of a random flash mob. Let's begin. It's a Thursday evening. I'm bored. The weather's nice. So I decide to go for a little mental health walk, which is really just me in leggings pretending to be productive while I spiral about snacks. I head toward the big plaza downtown. You know, the one with the fountains and always one guy doing interpretive saxophone solos. I'm mid-scroll on my phone, walking with iced tea in hand, when I hear music. Like loud music. I look up, and there's a group of maybe 30 people just standing around like mannequins. I think, is this a social experiment? A protest? Am I about to be recruited into something weird? Suddenly, the beat drops. Everyone moves. Synchronized. Intense. Like Glee meets Step Up to the Streets. And before I can flee, a guy in a tank top and full commitment grabs my hand and yells, "You're in! Come on!" And I, Lexi, Chaos Magnet, yell back, "What are we doing?" He says, "Trust the music!" Ma'am, I do not trust the music, but my body betrays me. I start moving. I'm clapping. I'm bouncing. I'm doing something vaguely rhythmic that could either be dancing or panicking. A woman hands me a fedora. A child shouts, "Go, lady, go!" People are filming. At some point, I get pushed to the front. Front! Like lead role in a Broadway finale front. And I start jazz handing so hard I almost throw my shoulder out. Then, Tyrone, the tank top man, yells, "Hit the final pose!" I freeze. Everyone drops to one knee dramatically, so I just fall into a lunge like I'm being knighted by Beyoncé herself. The music stops. Applause erupts. Someone hands me a flower. I am sobbing. Not because I'm emotional, because I'm winded and confused. Then I hear a voice behind me say, "Wow, you are incredible. Is this your first flash mob?" I whisper, "It's my first anything." Later that night, someone tags me in a video on YouTube titled, "Mystery Girl Slays Unexpected Flash Mob. Who is she?" It has 2.4 million views. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of loud music and peer pressure. Always warm up before unexpected cardio. And yes, fedoras still exist in hell. Anyway, I'm Lexi. And if you ever saw a wide-eyed woman cha-cha slide for her life with the raw panic of someone being chased by choreography, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been dragged into something random in public and just went with it? Dance class? Proposal rehearsal? Confused wedding guest? Let's share our public performance trauma, babe. Love you. Mean it. Lexi out.
Let me paint the picture. It's late, I'm tired, I'm wearing a hoodie, Crocs, and the confidence of someone running on fumes, literally and emotionally. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how my sad little four-door sedan accidentally made me famous for 17 minutes in a parking lot full of men who named their tires. Let's begin. So I'm low on gas. I swing into this station near the edge of town. Big lot, bright lights, very Fast and Furious vibes for some reason. I pull in, and as I'm parking, my car, sweet, slightly traumatized Deborah, makes this horrendous popping sound, like someone lit fireworks in her exhaust pipe. It echoes, the ground shudders, it sounds aggressive. I wince, but then I hear clapping. I look up and realize the gas station is filled with cars. Fancy, shiny, souped up, colorful chaos. And people, lots of people, holding Red Bulls and admiration. One guy walks over, cargo shorts, tribal tattoos, the works, and goes, "Yo, that was clean. What setup you're running?" I blink. I say, "Stock, fear, and a prayer?" He laughs like I'm being mysterious, hands me a Monster Energy, calls over his friends. Suddenly, I'm surrounded. They're asking what kind of turbo I use, what suspension, what octane, what my handle is. Handle?
Sir, the only handle I have is my TikTok username and anxiety. I panic, say, I keep it simple, stealth build. They nod, impressed. Someone goes, respect. That's rare these days. I am now a legend built on lies and bad engine maintenance. Then they ask if I want to line up for the next run. Like, race in Deborah, who starts shaking if I go over 75. I say, not tonight. She is temperamental. Just recalibrated the soul system. They all go, dying. One guy bows. Before I can get back in the car, someone takes a selfie with me and whispers, you're the realest driver here. Bro, I cried trying to parallel park last week. I drive off slow. Deborah lets out another pop. The crowd cheers, and I coast home with a free energy drink, 2 Instagram tags, and the overwhelming weight of deception. Moral of the story? Sometimes your car breaks and people think it's performance. Confidence is 90% eye contact and pretending you know what torque is. And never underestimate Deborah. She's loud, old, and full of mystery. Anyway, I'm Lexi. And if you ever saw a woman in Crocs get mistaken for a street racer and respond to Queen of the Track while adjusting her windshield wipers, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been mistaken for someone cool and just ran with it? DJ? Artist? Hacker? Pilot? Let's ride this lie wave together, babe. Love ya, mean it. Lexi out.
It always starts with caffeine. Just a simple, innocent, iced latte mission. That's all I wanted. A moment, a sip, a socket for my dying phone. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I walked into a cafe, sat at the wrong table, and walked out with a job offer from a company I still don't understand. Let's begin. So, it's Tuesday. I'm dressed like a before picture in a makeover show. Oversized hoodie, messy bun, iced coffee energy on 0. My phone is at 3%. Panic. I see this trendy little cafe, all succulents and exposed brick and baristas with ironic mustaches. I walk in, spot a table with an empty chair, and ask the 2 people sitting there, mind if I charge here real quick? They say, of course, you must be Sam. Now, am I Sam? No. Did I panic and say, yep? Absolutely. So now I'm sitting with 2 guys in button-downs, laptops open, resumes on the table. They start with, so tell us a little about yourself and why you're interested in joining Sparkloft. I have no idea what a Sparkloft is. Sounds like a dating app for electricians. But I commit. I say, I'm passionate about digital chaos, structured risk, and unhinged innovation. They nod. They look impressed. I go on. Make up entire previous jobs. Said I scaled engagement for a virtual candle brand, and pivoted a vibe-based content strategy. I don't even know what that means. One of them asks, how do you handle pressure? I say, I once live texted a breakup while hosting a trivia night. I don't fold. They write something down. The other guy leans in and says, what would you say is your biggest weakness? I say, spelling the word February every time it's an ambush. Silence. Then he laughs. They both laugh. Then they ask if I'm free to start Monday. At this point, I can't tell if I'm being punked or if I've just finessed my way into a tech job with 0 skills and 100% audacity. I say I'll circle back after reviewing the onboarding flow. They nod, hand me a card, and tell me I've got magnetic team energy. I unplug my phone
and leave like I just robbed a digital bank using only vibes. Moral of the story? Confidence is a superpower. Buzzwords are weapons if used recklessly. And if you ever panic lie in a coffee shop, at least get the free Wi-Fi password. Anyway, I'm Lexi, and if you ever saw a confused woman get accidentally hired because she needed to charge her phone and has a strong jawline, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever gotten sucked into something random and bluffed your way through it? A meeting, a wedding toast, a Zoom call you weren't invited to? Let's celebrate our accidental victories, babe. Love you, mean it. Lexi out.
I swear, I don't ask for these things. I just try to do regular adult stuff, like laundry. Basic, routine, nothing weird, no chaos. And yet, here we are. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I washed the wrong load of clothes, accidentally became laundromat royalty, and discovered that socks can, in fact, ruin lives. Let's begin. So it's Sunday, the day of rest, regret, and resetting your life via Tide Pods. I lug my laundry bag, which is mostly just shame and tangled leggings, to this little neighborhood laundromat that always smells faintly of hot coins and bad decisions. I find an open washer, shove everything in, start it, go sit down with my iced coffee and a podcast about unsolved heists. 20 minutes in, this guy walks in, mid-30s, panic energy, holding a very specific mesh laundry bag and looking like he just lost custody of his favorite hoodie. He stares at the washers, goes, where's machine 4? And I, like a polite chaos goblin, say, oh, that's mine. He goes, wait, mine had a navy sweater, a Baby Yoda onesie, and 6 pairs of identical gray boxers. I blink. My soul leaves my body. I washed the wrong load. My machine, full of his clothes. My actual stuff, still in my basket, unwashed, sitting next to me like a betrayal. I panic. I say, I'm so sorry. I thought it was empty. But hey, I used a lavender detergent. Very soothing. He blinks like I just admitted to burning down his house. Then says, well, thanks. Now here's where I should have stopped. But instead, I go full damage control. I stand up and say to the whole laundromat, if anyone else is missing clothes, I'm organizing a lost and found. We believe in justice here. And people, I swear, cheered. One lady comes up and says she's been missing a sock since February. Another guy hands me a tie-dye tank top like I'm Saint Fabric of the Spun Cycle. Suddenly, I'm in charge. People are asking questions. Should they double dry or hang? What's the best folding method for fitted sheets? Do I think bleach is a metaphor for forgiveness? I make stuff up. I say things like, whites represent a second chance. Fold them with purpose. They nod like I'm the Oprah of lint. The guy with the Baby Yoda onesie eventually forgives me. He even says, my clothes have never smelled this good. I whisper, that's the lavender and the guilt. Before I leave, someone hands me a handwritten Yelp review on a Post-it note. It says, Lexi, 5 stars, smells like hope, and knows sock law. I frame it. Moral of the story? Always double-check the machine number. People at laundromats are way more dramatic than they let on, and sometimes a mistake turns into a moment of community greatness. Anyway, I'm Lexi. And if you ever saw a woman hosting a laundry TED Talk with a box of mismatched socks and big manager energy, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever made a small mistake that spiraled into a full-on performance? Grocery store, airplane seat mix-up, wrong Zoom call? Let's fold our regrets together, babe. Love you, mean it, Lexi out.
Okay, you ever walk into a room and instantly realize, this is not where I'm supposed to be, but it's too late to turn around? Yeah. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how I took a wrong turn at a community center and ended up making my live theater debut totally on accident. Let's begin. So, I'm at this little downtown arts building, right? Cute, eclectic, full of mysterious signs and drama club energy. My friend invited me to a pottery market in the lobby. I go, I browse, I touch things I probably shouldn't. Then, like any iced latte-holding mortal, I need to pee. Bad. I ask the lady at the booth, "Where's the restroom?" She goes, "Right through those double doors and down the hall." Sounds easy, right? Wrong. I push open the double doors, it's dimly lit, I step inside, and immediately hear, "And yet you betrayed me for a bowl of chowder." I freeze. I am not in a hallway. I am on stage. On stage. I look around. There are actors in full costume, a spotlight, a shocked audience, and me, in jeans, hoodie, clutching an iced latte like a nervous raccoon. Everyone pauses. One of the actors, this regal woman in a feathered hat, locks eyes with me and goes, "Ah, Gloria, you've returned." I whisper, "I have?" Someone claps. I panic. I walk to the back of the stage slowly, trying to disappear behind a coat rack that isn't real. I stand there for 5 minutes just chewing my gum, nodding along to lines like, Gloria's role was mysterious gum girl with secrets. Then comes the moment. An actor gestures to me and says, "Do you not agree, Gloria?" I freeze. The audience looks at me, the spotlight shifts. I look this man dead in the eye and say, "I'm just here for the bathroom." The crowd laughs. Huge applause. The actors bow. They thank me. The director whispers, "Best improv moment we've had all season." I find the actual bathroom 5 minutes later. Still shaking, still holding my iced latte, now with a sticker on my chest that says, "Gloria, cast member." Moral of the story. Always clarify directions. Never chew gum in the spotlight unless you're ready for fame. And if someone gives you a role, own it, even if you didn't audition. Anyway, I'm Lexi. And if you ever saw a confused woman in the background of a community theater performance looking like she was about to cry or deliver the line of the century, that was me. Tell me in the comments, have you ever accidentally become part of something and just committed? Flash mob, choir, wedding party? Let's share our surprise performances, babe. Love you, mean it. Gloria out.
You know how sometimes you're just trying to feel cute? You've got candles, a bath bomb that smells like rich aunt energy, and a glass of something sparkling. Yeah. Hi, I'm Lexi, and this is the story of how my thirst trap turned into a full-blown maintenance emergency involving a group chat, one exposed thigh, and my landlord's shocked emoji. Let's begin. So it's Sunday. I'm romanticizing my life. I've got music playing, something smooth and sexy, like I think I'm in a fragrance ad. I toss in a glittery bath bomb. It fizzes. I sparkle. I'm a goddess. Now, I have a thing with this guy. You know, not dating, not dating. Classic situationship chaos. And we've been flirting all weekend. I think, let me give him a little teaser. Just a tasteful, playful bath leg moment. Foam, drama, vibes. I take the photo. Bubbles, bent knee, good lighting, a little candle glow. Then I type the caption. "Come fix this pipe, I'm so wet." I laugh. It's cheeky. I'm adorable. I hit send. Then I freeze because I noticed the name at the top of the message.
building maintenance group chat. I scream. Full volume, splashing, slipping, suds and I scream. Let me break it down. This chat includes Carol, the property manager who wears Crocs with authority, 3 on-call plumbers, 1 guy named Steve who only replies K, and every tenant who's ever had a leaking ceiling since 2016. I immediately text, "Wrong chat, please ignore." Then another, "That wasn't meant for you." Then another, "That was a joke, I'm fine, the pipe is fine, my whole life is fine." Carol responds with, "Are you okay? Should we send someone?" One of the plumbers reacts to the photo with a wrench emoji. Steve just replies, "K." I consider moving, changing my name, faking a gas leak, and disappearing into the fog. Then, the cherry on top, 2 minutes later, I hear a knock at my door. It's a maintenance guy holding a wrench and visibly trying not to laugh. He says, "Carol said there might be a plumbing situation." I say, "Only emotional." He nods, then leaves, with my dignity. Moral of the story? Always check who you're texting. Never save a group chat as building. Pipe boys, I see. And if you're gonna send a bath selfie, keep the wrench jokes out of it. Anyway, I'm Lexi. And if you ever saw a woman nearly pass out in a tub because she became a plumbing innuendo in her own apartment building, that was me. Tell me in the comments, what's the most embarrassing message you've ever sent to the wrong person? Boss? Mom? Grocery store chain? Let's bathe in regret together, babe. Love you, mean it. Lexi out.